Throw the first stone. Demo, take number 3487.6. You sit in judgment of me. You sit in judgment of me. You sit in judgment of me. Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone? You sit in judgment of me. You say you hold the truth. To sit in judgment of me. Well, who gave that right to you? And why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone at me? You stand in your glass houses, looking out at me. But through those stained glass windows, what can you really see? Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you hit the nail? Why don't you throw the first stone at me? I hear you preach the Bible. You say you know the way. Then you put down your neighbor with the next word you say. And you say to follow Jesus and do what he would do. But if you follow Jesus, then why don't you love me too? Instead you throw the first stone. Instead you hit the nail. Instead you throw the first stone at me. To act like you believe the way you do. You claim to own the answers, but if you really knew, then you would put down the first stone. You would put down the nail. You wouldn't throw the first stone at me. Your own teachings? Did you forget the love that you've been preaching? You make the law your own and then pick up a stone. Did you forget the love in a world where hate prevails? In the temple courts, all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. What do you say?" Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "If any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, until only Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you." So why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you throw the first stone? There is only one lawgiver and judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But you, who are you to judge your neighbor? Judge not, lest ye be judged. Why don't you throw the first stone? Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye? Pay no attention to the plank in your own eye. Why don't you throw the first stone at me? Love is patient and kind, does not envy, does not boast, is not proud, is not rude or self-seeking, not easily angered, keeps no record of wrongs. Love always protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. The entire law is summed up in a single command: love your neighbor as yourself. So why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you hit the nail? Why don't you throw the first stone at me? Why don't you throw the first stone? Why don't you hit the nail? And why don't you throw the first stone at me? At me. Something like that, anyway.